What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Emilio in Tennessee here to talk Packers 49ers as we're inching closer to game day for that 3:25 kickoff Lambeau time come this Sunday. Really excited about that. Before we get started, boy, it was chilly today, man. We had wind. I got the red glowing face today. I look like Kool-Aid, the upper lips chapped, the whole 9 yards, man.
That's the truth. I just upgraded to over-the-ear headphones for the winter season, keep the ears cool, and then I got a little, face mask cover. That's really the big thing, man, was cutting that wind because I went long sleeve for a minute there, but got cold, and it's happening fast. You see that snow rolling in for the game tonight, right? And we had the same thing happen up in Green Bay this morning, no?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really chilly up there in Green Bay this morning. As Emilio mentioned, we actually had snow flying through the stadium. Wes Hikowitz tweeted out this video. Man, it doesn't get any better than that, does it, Emilio?
That picture right there. I mean, you could just sum up the Green Bay history right there.
It was funny seeing some of the people that don't keep up with the Packers too, saying, "What the hell's on the field? What is that?" Like, obviously, it's the heat lamps, the light continuing to grow the grass. That's why I think Green Bay's got the best surface in the league. I don't know about you. Is it just me, or does it seem like they hardly ever have any knee injuries on that field too? You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time you've seen a significant knee injury on that field? Because Jordan's happened in Brazil, right?
Right.
David Bakhtiari's happened on turf somewhere, because I remember that being the big knock there that he set out on his voyage to do away with all turf.
Yep.
I can't think of a major knee injury. Can you?
Not that I can put my finger on. You're not given that rubber kind of bounce back feeling that you're given on turf, and we've come a long way since the old flat concrete AstroTurf. But the natural grass, nothing's better. You get a little bit of that smell too, that dirt smell when it after a little bit of water gets on it, and it's like, this football right now. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. But yeah, how else are we going to get that green grass in the middle of winter up there? Grounds crew does a great job. Stadium crew as well.
Yeah, completely agree, man. It's just it's a magical place, man. I had a chance to, the last tour I did of the stadium there a couple years ago, it was actually snowing like this. So it was just the perfect setting to get out there and get some really good pictures in the snow and all that. It's a magical place, no doubt, man. Emilio, this is kind of cool with this comment right here, man. You were talking about this offline, and we were hitting on it a little bit, but Rail said Hafley was pissed at all the negative questions he was receiving today. Listen, we don't have to name any specific people that may or may not have asked questions, but that's kind of the vibe you got too, right? It's funny that Rail brung that up, because I hadn't had a chance to listen to Hafley yet. But
yeah, no, definitely go back and take a peek. But it was, you'll get a question and Hafley's not, about answering it, and that's cool too. He just wanted to make his point known. He's there to coach the players, and having to answer he has no problem answering the questions. It's just, sometimes you just got to be a coach and keep that in. But the rest of them too, he was getting to the point of the only good questions you asked were like, how is it that Brenton Cox got a sack? And then how is it, maybe Carl Brooks or something like that. And the rest of them were, hey, 4th and 2, you guys messed up here. 3rd downs, you guys, you got to 3rd down, and then he gave it up on 4th down. And he's like, well, we were getting into 3rd and shorts, so 3rd and shorts are kind of easier to convert, or if you know you're going to go for it on 4th, these things kind of daisy chain. He's like, we only gave up 19 points. And at the very end, he goes, to be honest with you, I don't think we should have given up a touchdown to them, but it's obviously they're just trying to get better. But it was still only 19 points. They got a W. That was the main thing. He's told us that from day one when he walked in here. He goes, I want the players to get better. I want them to succeed. But all that matters right there is a win. A win at the end of the day. So, yeah, they were just real. At the end they tried to retrace and cheered up a little. But I get where Hafley's coming from, man. How can we be that mad and that upset? We're 7-3 right now, and in control.
Yeah, definitely. And it does crack me up that these, when they're asking questions, like they go straight for the throat. Like, you can have a coach or a player coming off their worst game, their worst day at the office, essentially, And it's like no questions are off limits. It's, hey, why did you suck so bad? But I love that Mark Tauscher points us out to Wildy all the time on Wildy and Tausch. He's like, boy, y'all get awful sensitive when somebody asks you about, something you got wrong, but you'll hammer folks, about messing up on the field. And listen, those questions should be asked in a tactful manner, obviously, but it is funny to see people get upset the second they're criticized when they are constantly criticizing other people. It's a job I would not want. There's no doubt about it, man. So I do have a certain level of respect for people that cover the sports like that. I couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, and that's it. Because the only other nice thing that they were asking about was, how do you think, Hopper's come along? And why would Hafley want to be up there and just saying, oh no, this player did X wrong? He was saying on this down and distance, this player did this wrong. On that one where it was a 4th and 2, Caleb stepped up and Quay was right on him and he kind of just dumped it to the flat. He asked him about that and he's like, yeah, if we're talking scheme, he's like, I appreciate you looking into it that much and wanting to. He's like, I really do appreciate you asking that question and watching the tape and, being that thoughtful. So I'll answer it straight up. I wish Quay kept going on that one, but it's a learning moment. In the end, we got the W. Like, yeah, this is all tape we can learn from, but man, we're 7-3, week 11, week 12 coming up. It's not the end of the world. And the season's going by so fast. It seems like it was just last week. Like, the season kicked off and we were down in Tennessee, so it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys would take a quick second, hit that like button, feel free to sub to the channel. We appreciate y'all making us a part of your Thursday evening here, as we've got Thursday Night Football about to kick off. It's going to be a fun one to watch on Prime. And we're in Cleveland, Pittsburgh at Cleveland, and they're calling for some heavy snow. We'll see if it develops as that lake effect snow. It's either 6 inches in a matter of minutes, or it's no snow at all. It can blow right by, right? So we'll see. 2-0 for this in the chat said, just play football on trampolines. It's funny you mentioned that 2-0 for this, because I actually asked Mike Wall this. I think it was last year. I'm like, with the turf, is it that big of a difference? He went, oh yeah. He said, it's horrible on your joints because it's so springy. And I didn't realize that. They talk about it. I see you nodding your head. You probably played on some kind of turf. See, when I was growing up, artificial turf was that thin little outdoor carpet on concrete. That's what.
Yeah, on concrete. Yeah, and those the little grass pieces got stuck everywhere. You couldn't get them off your clothes.
Yep. And now it sounds like it's very, very springy. And that's what's so hard on the joints.
All it is cut up rubber tires basically, and to really find things, and then you turn it. But obviously they have nicer turf in the NFL and stuff. But I mean, it does feel like you're kind of just bouncing around. Your knees, your legs and feet get used to it, but it still doesn't feel right. I mean, I tore my ACL on turf, so it was an indoor turf, but I tore it on turf.
Got it. Aaron Rodgers in the chat said 48 hours till I'll be at Lambeau. Someone pinch me, man. I'm so excited for you, dude. It is going to be awesome. You're going to have a blast, man. So just don't get in a rush on anything, man. Take your time and make it last as long as you can, because it's a magical place, no doubt. Now, I think we're set for a pretty good ball game, man. And we're going to talk to injury news here in a minute. And there's a chance Brock Purdy might not play. Some people are going, oh, no, they're just throwing smoke and mirrors. But I'm going to play a clip for y'all from a guy who covers the 49ers, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. But before we do, I want to hit on a couple of things that came down the pike here. Evan Williams, first of all, Felipe Reese Acete, how would you say that? Acete?
Yes.
Hell yeah. All right. We got Evan Williams. It's at, I can't say the last name, ACETI_Felipe. Okay. Go check him out on Twitter. He doesn't have hardly any followers. And I'm telling you, when he's tweeting, it's a lot like Jacob Morley. It's just really, really good information, straight to the point. No political BS, no arguing. Just it seemed like a really solid follow. So go give him a follow. It says Evan Williams in 185 coverage snaps, 8 catches allowed, 2 forced incompletions, 2 pass breakups, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns allowed, and a 40.4 passer rating allowed. Emilio, when we watched the tape of Evan Williams in college at Oregon, we were like, man, this guy's a run defender. Wow, he can tackle. Man, he really knows how to break on the ball carrier. We didn't hardly see anything in pass defense, but man, as an NFL rookie, this dude's come out of the gate flying and playing some damn good pass defense.
Yeah, no, and honestly, the secondary as a whole, I think their QBRs are around 80 or 90, maybe 95 max. They're under 100 as a secondary, which is huge. That first year with X and rookies out there, everybody's kind of coming together. Listening to Carrington's his interview earlier today, he was talking about never being really injured before, never missing a snap. So having that happen in the NFL is tough. Coming back out there. And Evan, not an injury, but didn't get snaps, got snaps, didn't get snaps again, started getting snaps. And with that, seeing his PFF grade and other things go up, it's kind of came back down a little bit, get sort of leveled off. So it's, where are we going to finish at this point, right? We've kind of seen a peak, we've seen a valley. Let's see where everybody's gonna finish out in the last leg here.
Yeah, and if we have time, we'll look at some of the PFF grades and kind of see where everyone is right now on the Packers roster and kind of see where they rank for their respective positions. Up next, Jacob Morley tweeted out Christian Watson's PFF receiving grade by depth. All right, so he broke it down: 20-plus yards, medium 10 to 19 yards, and short 0 to 9 yards. All right, deep 20-plus yards or more, right? 93.0 elite grade. Medium range 10 to 19 yards, okay? 96.1 elite grade. Short 0 to 9 yards, 90.9 elite grade. Can we get this guy some more targets, please, is what Jacob Morley asked. And I've got to echo that. Again, what I do love, though, Emilio, if you go back, it's easy to kind of fall into this trap and go, okay, we just need to get Christian the ball, right? We did that the first half of last year, and we were forcing a lot of throws into coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you notice, if you look at the Packers' record this year in conjunction with kind of how we've adjusted things, first of all, not near as many SIF blocks this first half of the season, right? So you're running way less split flow. And then on top of that, you're not forcing the ball to Christian Watson. Lo and behold, you're 7-3, right? Now I know, and what's crazy is Jordan still made mistakes,
right,
but you're not throwing the ball into coverage as much. The pick sixes were the big eyesore for Jordan Love. Those were him rolling right, trying to make a play, dumping it underneath and getting the ball picked off. Obviously, he airmailed the one that last game there to Tucker Kraft that obviously went into the arms of the DB, which you've seen Tucker too. He went up like he was going to catch it and then pulled his arm back down real quick too because he thought maybe Jordan was throwing to someone else, right? But again, I think it's awesome that we're not forcing the ball to Christian Watson this year. And lo and behold, man, you're getting way more efficiency from Christian Watson, although you might not be getting as much results in bulk.
Right.
It's obvious that when Jordan goes to him, he's going to him at the right time now.
Yeah, and I was just too old for this. Just pop this up. I was just thinking the same thing. We have a different wide receiver one at each point in the season, and to that point, it was Christian Watson coming up recently, and we've seen Jaden Reed and Romeo step up. The question is, who's going to step up again? So it's like we all kind of got one. They all got 2-3 weeks to be that number one so far. Let's see who's going to rinse and repeat. Who's going to get that second bunch of stats and plays and stuff. I still think Watson, is that dude. Let's knock on wood, keep him healthy, keep producing. It doesn't have to be every game. You don't have to go out and make 100 yards or 4 touchdowns or anything like that. Just do what you need to do, block, and your chances will come. They really will. I would like Matt to kind of rotate maybe the flyer or look into bringing Christian back in motion once in a while, get him on the run just to give him a free release, different things like that.
Yeah, 2-0 for this says Lambeau Field is the grown man's Disney World, man. And truer words have never been spoken. Ron Sanville says Coach Hafley isn't scared. Quote, that team shouldn't have scored a touchdown on us.
Yeah, okay, so you did say it like that. All right, I didn't want to mess up the statement, but that's true, man. That's and awesome. The fact that they did, cool, it happens. But, this defense, they want perfection. Obviously, they're always chasing it, but we can't be mad at them if we got a W and the defense held them to less points than our offense. That's all we need.
Yeah. Nathan in the chat said, all I'm saying is Watson is possibly wide receiver one. I see it too, Nathan. I see of all the receivers we got on the team, he's got the build, he's got the size, he's got the speed. And you're seeing now diving catches over the middle on crossers, right? We've seen him go up Another play where he goes up on more of a vertical route. I think it was kind of a corner route, or at least we bent him in that direction with the throw.
Right.
Double coverage catch.
That stock route.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen him his rookie year run jet sweeps. And he can pretty much do everything, right? And we haven't seen this year's version of Christian Watson getting a bunch of balls, a bunch of targets, thrown to him. So he may be that dude once everything opens up and they can go to him. Now, after that last game, 4 targets, 4 catches, 150 yards, you can bet your ass that the 49ers are going to be looking to shut him down. Well, guess what? Look for Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft underneath now, right? That's how that's going to kind of work together. So, again, if anybody says Christian Watson is wide receiver 1, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I can't – I don't have an argument saying, nope, no, he ain't, other than the lack of overall production, but that's just because he hasn't gotten a whole lot of opportunities. And we've seen it, Amelia. He's drawing coverage away from other targets. He's in there blocking. Yep. In some cases, he's running picks on crossers like he did for the one in Tucker Kraft earlier this season. So,
and what could work with that? You remember seeing was it Puka or Cooper Kupp where they brought him in motion into like the C gap and looked like he was going through on a block, but sort of released into like an out route or a cross or a corner, whatever it was. That's something that we can integrate with Christian Watson. That's something that we can add to his game, and that they'll really buy into it because of how much he blocks and is, actually good at it.
Yeah. It says, Damon Stewart says here, says, don't forget.
He can block.
Ever has a chance, go back and watch that post-game show from the Pittsburgh game. I'm telling you, it's absolute good. You want to see 3 different personalities after a tough loss. It is hilarious. I'm over here trying to keep things upbeat. Emilio's trying to find everything positive, and Tim is just ready to hit somebody in the mouth. It is hilarious. We were a wreck after that game.
Tim wanted nothing to do with it.
I don't blame. Deep down inside, I felt the same way. Someone's going to have to be the fake positive dude here today because this sucks. This absolutely sucks.
Positive.
So, all right. So let's get to some injury news. We got a little bit of a teaser here, as Ron Samuel said, no Ja and no Coop. That hurts, right? So let's kind of dive into it real quick, Emilio, as we look at some of the injury updates. Let's start with Jaire. This was interesting, really, really interesting to me. So it came out today, and I'm going to try to read this. It's very, very small print, but Matt Schneidman said Jaire Alexander told The Athletic today that he suffered a tear in his PCL earlier this season and re-aggravated the injury in Chicago. He's unsure of his return timetable, but he's confident he'll return to all-pro form later this season. And then Matt Schneidman attached another tweet and said, Alexander told The Athletic that he stayed in Green Bay during the Week 10 bye following his PCL tear, quote, to hopefully come back and make an impact for the team. Alexander then re-aggravated the injury in 10 snaps last Sunday. So, Emilio, maybe I had my head in the sand. Is this the first time you're hearing about a PCL too? It's the first time I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, I kind of remember them talking about it just from the presser, but not nothing PCL, anything like that. Because we were so caught up in Jordan Love's thing, I feel like it just went right under the radar. It was, even if Ja was hurt, anybody else was hurt, we probably wouldn't have really even noticed it. We were so worried about Jordan's, but completely different because Jordan's was an MCL, no?
MCL, that's correct.
Yeah, right. So then we got the PCL, ACL. So, proud of him that he was trucking through this, but it just adds to the fact of, under that 50% kind of stuff and another big game. So it is what it is for that.
Yeah. Wes Hawkowitz had tweeted out earlier today, the Packers stayed inside the Hudson Center for Thursday's padded practice. Jaire Alexander with a knee and Edgerrin Cooper hamstring are the only players not participating. Jaire was on the bike. And he put nice strike from Jordan Love to Kevin Duffy here, who's obviously one of the assistants there in Green Bay. And Jordan, with this snap here, he looks fully healthy to me. Do you notice a brace still? Is he still wearing a brace or no? Because I'm not really seeing anything. Are you? Kind of hard on that video.
Yeah, it is a little tough. Doesn't look like it though. But I think they were asking Steno that in his presser. They were kind of saying, how's it feel? And you saw it on that first quarter or whatever when he rolled out, ran up, and released it, kicked his foot forward, sort of thing, landed on one foot, leaning back. And when you're able to do that without really wanting to, think about it or anything, obviously, because he's just reacting. Like he was saying in his interview was, when you're out there, it's not like I'm thinking I'm going to throw my left shoulder in on that run play when I'm trying to get the touchdown or, keep it off my throwing shoulder or, if his knee was bothering him, he'd say, all right, maybe I won't. He said that he'd take that run still, but he didn't know how fast he'd get there. But again, if you're really hurt, that's going to be in the back of your head. If you're not thinking about it, you're just reacting. I think that he is just reacting at this point. I think he's past it.
Yeah. So obviously, outside of Jordan Love here and focusing on is he fully healthy or not, Edgerrin Cooper is the big news today. So we'll just pop up the injury report real quick and hit on it. So Jair Alexander did not participate both days, both Wednesday and Thursday. Kenny Clark was limited both days. Edgerrin Cooper was limited on Wednesday, and I think that's when he tweaked the hamstring. So he did not participate today. We'll keep our eye on that for the injury report tomorrow as well. Josh Jacobs limited on both days. I'm pretty sure he's good to go, though. Elton Jenkins was limited on Wednesday with veteran rest, full participation today. Josh Myers was limited on both days with the wrist. I'm sure he's good to go. Rasheed Walker limited with the knee on Wednesday, full participation today. He's ready to roll. Evan Williams limited both days, so I feel comfortable saying he's going to play again this week. Kobe Wooden limited both days today with the shoulder injury, or this week with the shoulder injury, I should say. Anything stick out to you there other than Edgerrin Cooper, man? We kind of talked about with the snap count earlier this week. Let me just pull this up real quick for those of you who are wondering. So Edgerrin Cooper ended up getting the second most linebacker snaps on Sunday. So if he does not go on Sunday, this snap count would probably suggest that the linebackers would be Quay Walker, right? And then let's see who's next on this list. It would
be McDuffie.
Isaiah McDuffie, yeah. And what's crazy is Eric Wilson just 13 snaps. Man, I feel comfortable with Eric going in the game. And here's the thing, I feel like Edgerrin Cooper is our best linebacker. I don't know how you feel, Emilio. Maybe you think Eric Wilson. Maybe you think it's Quay. I personally think it's Edgerrin Cooper. So you will be down if he cannot play, and it's early, but you guys know how hammies are. If he can't play, you're going to be down your best linebacker, I personally think. But I feel if anybody can come in and kind of fill that void, especially in that 4-3 base, seeing that San Francisco likes to run a lot of 21 personnel, and at least put an extra tight end in the backfield to mock up that H-back, I feel like Eric Wilson's going to play a pretty damn good ball game, man. I really do.
Yeah, and I remember when we were looking at the snaps earlier, McDuffie kind of was excelling when he maybe had a little bit less of a role, not going crazy or anything like that. So him right around 20, 25 snaps, I don't think that's bad. But with Cooper out, yeah, they are going to have to rotate a little bit more. I think that my other thing would be maybe I'd want Eric Wilson in coverage a little bit more than I would want McDuffie in coverage. But I also would want McDuffie and maybe a bit more in run defense. So It's going to be a little bit of a trade-off here and there. And Hafley was even saying in his presser there, who had it, Nathan, I think, popped it up here. Hafley also said that it's possible that we see Tyron Hopper late in the season. So I'm excited. Could be a game if Coop doesn't play that it's time. You played on special teams. He was kind of really talking about him at Sam. He brought it up twice, him at the Sam position. That he's been practicing it. Yeah, he's been practicing it. So that would be cool to see. Maybe rotate him in, and then you can bump Isaiah and Eric Wilson. Maybe they'll rotate with Quay. But my thing is we're going to have the speed on the field to stop them horizontally. So Quay's not coming off the field. You would have wanted Cooper out there, but rotate Wilson and McDuffie and just keep us as fast as possible and throw Hopper in there a couple times just to get a rotation.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll keep an eye on that with Edgerrin Cooper as we move a little later into the week here. Now, with other news coming out of San Francisco, this was really interesting. You guys know that Brock Purdy kind of popped up a little later. I want to say it was just a couple of days ago that he had a sore shoulder, right? And this is Grant Cohen actually tweeted this out, and Grant Cohen really, really close to the 49ers organization. Brock Purdy isn't throwing passes today. All right, so this was the early indications, like, okay, he's not even throwing today at practice. So that kind of, whoa, all right, what happened? But I believe it was Grant Cohen that actually came out a little bit later. Grant Cohen. I hope I'm saying that right. I know he's been on the McAfee show before, and he's, like I said, one of the top reporters for the San Francisco 49ers. Go give him a follow if you want to follow the 49ers coverage this week to kind of give you insight on the injury information. But here's what he tweeted out earlier. Brock Purdy shuts himself down at practice. Listen real close. Now listen, there could be some smoke screens here, right? It could be something that Shanahan gives this guy the go ahead. Hey, yeah, let's get that out there, in the atmosphere. But let's hear what he had to say. It's 2 minutes long, but it's worth the time, I promise.
This is bizarre. The 49ers are practicing right now, and Brock Purdy isn't out there. He started the practice out there and threw some passes, and when he did, of course, our friend David Lombardi got really excited, tweeted, he's back throwing. And he was for about 5 minutes on a far field. So I walk over to get a better look, and by the time I get there, a trainer has him over on the side rubbing out his shoulder pretty vigorously for about 15 seconds. I'm watching. Then the other three quarterbacks, Tanner Mordecai, Brandon Allen, Josh Dobbs, start doing the individual drills where they're throwing the ball to Brian Greasy, going through their reads. The thing that Purdy wasn't allowed to do yesterday but was supposed to do today, considering he was warming up throwing. He didn't do that, though. He starts trying to warm up again, throws these like little 10-yard passes to Mick Lombardi. They have nothing on them. It's like he was throwing as softly as he possibly could. And then after doing that for about 5 minutes, he stops again, talks to a trainer, starts walking off the field, and then starts running off the field and leaves and doesn't come back. So that doesn't – I don't know what happened. So
yeah,
come back.
Right there. That's the look you're looking for. Right there. I don't care who's playing quarterback. I want them to look like that when we're bearing down with the pass rush on Sunday.
So that doesn't – I don't know what happened, but it doesn't seem good. My best interpretation is that they thought he might be able to throw today. He gave it a shot. It didn't work out. And so when the Niners said he has shoulder soreness, that sounded like nothing. Oh, that sounds – I mean, I have shoulder soreness. Right now, everyone has shoulder soreness. No, it sounds like he can't throw a football right now.
Now, I want to mention this real quick. We'll continue on. Someone in the chat said, who's their backup, right? I think it's Coach Lynn. Who is the backup for the 49ers? I thought the same thing, too, for this says Josh Dobbs, right? Astro Dobbs. We got a lot of experience with him down here in Tennessee. My man is, he's sharp as attack and did some amazing things as a backup quarterback coming in and filling in for the starter at other places. Now, check this out, though. I thought the same thing, too, for this. Listen to the rest of this video.
Maybe he'll be able to throw one on Sunday, but he can't throw a football today. Clearly there's pain, like big time. Otherwise, why did he stop throwing 5 minutes into practice? So not the best news. If I had to guess right now, I'm thinking Brandon Allen's going to start this game against the Packers, and the Niners are probably going to lose. But there's still one more day of practice. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see if Brock Purdy can physically throw a football on Friday, 2 days before the biggest game of the season. Don't hold your breath.
All right, so there you go. As again, he says Brandon. What do you say, Brandon Allen? What?
Yeah, Bates had it.
Brandon Allen, man. I mean, immediately I'm thinking it's Josh Dobbs, but he said Brandon Allen had me. Who? You know what I mean? Like I had no clue what was going on. So I'm with you two over this, and maybe that's enough. That kind of throws a red flag too. If everybody's expecting Josh Dobbs to be the backup, and all of a sudden he mentions Brandon Allen, and this guy's giving all these details about practice, it does kind of make you think maybe smoke screen. But I know this, Emilio. If for some reason Brock Purdy can't play on Sunday, that helps the Packers immensely.
Yeah, and like he said there at the end, biggest game of the season. That's it, man. This is. Like Ryan had on his pod earlier today, was they were talking about San Fran, and if they don't make it to the playoffs, fire Kyle Shanahan, and eventually could daisy chain somehow end up at the Bears. We obviously don't want that to happen, but this is the end of where they're heading if they don't get over this hump. I mean, the Rams, they are behind. They have to start winning games right now, and if we get one more game space on them, it's slim pickings moving forward. Yeah.
Crystal Dye says in the chat, good to see you, ma'am. She said, he said 2 days before the biggest game of the season, ? I'm not sure if there's sarcasm there or what, but I guess it is the biggest game of the season for them. I mean, their season's on the freaking line, right? I mean,
they go to what, 5-6 after? If they lose, and that would be
I know
We
I've got
would go to 8-3. They'd go to 5-6, and they'd go to 5-6, and they'd be 3 games back of the furthest in the division.
Yeah, so yeah, they're at 5-5 right now. So if they drop to 5-6, it's that's going to be tough sledding, man. It really is. You're going to have to go on one hell of a run here at the end of the year,
Especially if Arizona wins, Rams lose, and Seattle loses. That's, I mean.
And if the Packers lose to the Niners on Sunday, worst case scenario, messing around with the playoff simulator earlier, it sounds like they'll fall. If they lose to the Niners, they're going to fall to the number 7 seed, right? So I don't think that's a huge deal. It's like, okay, you're still in the play, and that's that 2-game buffer we were talking about, right? You got the Commanders at 7-4, and then after that, you got everybody just with 5 wins. So you'll still be a game up on San Francisco if they do indeed beat the Packers. But yeah, I do think it's probably their sarcasm. Okay, let's tear them up. Jay loves revenge game. Amen to that, Chris. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. And again, we don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. The rest of the injury report here, Rob Demoski tweeted out, big difference in the Niners pass rush with and without Bosa on the field. With Bosa, the pressure rate is 33% and a sack rate of 8%. Without Nick Bosa, pressure rate goes down to 18% and a sack rate of only 2%. And he was quote tweeting Nick Wagoner, who says, no surprise, but did not see defensive end Nick Bosa, who's got the hip/oblique injury, or left tackle Trent Williams with the ankle during early open portion of Thursday's practice. Kyle Shanahan said both players will get up to game time to be ready to play. So
we were talking about that last night, right? Yeah.
I think there's a good chance that Nick Bosa plays.
I think so too.
I sure hope he doesn't. That would be awesome.
But it's all about the smoke screen, right? Who was asking? They were asking if Purdy was on the injury report. He is. Their right shoulder limited both days in a row. But limited, we've talked about this before. Limited could mean absolutely anything, man. He got on the field. He wore his equipment. He was out there. If he's not, you saw it on the dude's, his video right there. If he's not throwing the ball, he's not playing quarterback. So, and then was listening to, man, I forgot who I was listening to now at this point, but they were talking about how Kyle doesn't even allow Brock Purdy to, make route adjustments sort of like under center type thing. He gives them a 1 or 2 option, and, option A, option B, can 2 play, and that's it. It's not like he can adjust it and free flow it to his exact specifications or anything like that. And that's where another thing is we're blessed that Jordan Love has that freedom, knows the offense, and can do that if he sees something. That the old Aaron Rodgers hand signal for a route, they're saying it doesn't happen as much anymore, but if it works for you, let's use it.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys would take a quick second, hit that like button for us, help boost the algorithm, help other Packer fans find this channel and find this content. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this glorious Thursday evening as there's 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns are still tied 0-0 with a little bit of snow flying in Cleveland. It's football weather, baby. Deadfish says Brandon Allen has completed 3 passes since 2021. That's not that good, bub. So again, I don't see how he would be the quarterback over Josh Dobbs, but I haven't even really studied their depth chart either. So as far as their injury report, Tatum Bethune, linebacker, did not participate both days. Nick Bosa did not participate both days. Jacob Cowing, wide receiver, had a concussion. He was limited Wednesday, did not participate today. That would kind of make me think he's not clearing concussion protocol. I could be wrong there. John Feliciano, center with the knee injury, was limited both days. Kevin Givens, defensive tackle with the groin, did not participate both days. George Kittle's the big one, right? George Kittle, tight end, hamstring, limited both days. I think he'll probably give it a go. They said earlier in the week, I think it was Ian Rappaport had tweeted out that the target was for George Kittle to get back against the Green Bay Packers. Christian McCaffrey had veteran rest, did not participate Wednesday. He was back today, limited. Brock Purdy limited both days. You just heard he threw a couple passes and they shut it down. Charvarius Ward, cornerback, had a personal matter. He was limited both days. And then Trent Williams with the ankle did not participate on either day. If some way, somehow, Emilio, both Nick Bosa and Trent Williams, really if one of those two guys misses, you're really liking your chances because Trent Williams is one of the best tackles in the game. Right. Nick Bosa, I think an argument can be made that he is the best pass rusher in the game. So him and TJ Watt are always kind of leapfrogging each other for that title. A lot of injuries here that not just that there's a lot of injuries, although they do have more than us on the list here. You got a lot that really aren't showing improvement. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, like with Cowing, obviously it dropping back, sliding back a bit that did not participate. So
yeah, that's always tough to see, especially with concussion. You never want to see that. But if I were to ask you, who would you pick if it's Trent or Bosa? Would you rather not have out there if possible?
For me, it's definitely it would definitely be Bosa. You lock your chances if you fall behind, and you have to come back from behind,
right,
passing the ball. If Bosa isn't on the field, if you fall behind just a touchdown, and Bosa gets a pin his ears back, watch the hell out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, watch out.
True.
And with Trent Williams, don't get me wrong, they've got a great offense. They've got a legit top 5, top 10 offense. We'll hit on it here in a second if we have time. They've got a really, really good offense. So that would be my choice. What about you? Who would you say?
Yeah, after hearing that, you might have me leaning more towards Bosa, but I just figured let's take Trent out, let the defense just go to work, and if you just plan on not even needing to get into a shootout, right? Have faith in the defense kind of thing. That's where I would want to lean to, especially it being, a colder kind of game and the first one of the year, I guess, for them. But I definitely get your point there.
Crystal in the chat says, we already know we can beat them. We had them by the you-know-what last year, and they all played. If they do decide to play while injured, it still won't be their best game. I think that's a great point. And then right after her, 2-0 for this said, we almost beat them at their best last year. We can absolutely win this game. I completely agree. Completely agree.
And if you just win this game, get it over with, you don't even need to see them in the playoffs because you won this game.
Bingo.
Just get it over with.
Yeah, absolutely. And what he's talking about here with the playoffs, Hunt, obviously the Packers are currently the 6th seed. Again, if you lose this game, you drop to the 7th seed. If you win it, and I've actually got the playoff simulator. I'm gonna look at something really, really quick here in just a second. If you were to actually, let's just put it up on the screen since we're talking about it. Heck,
let's do it.
Let me get it up here. Let's kind of see what would happen if Washington loses and we win. I'm wondering if there's a chance that we leapfrog them, because currently it's Detroit Lions 1 seed, Eagles 2 seed, Cardinals 3, Falcons 4, right? And let me pull that back up real quick. Falcons 4, Vikings 5, Packers 6, and Washington 7. So let's go here to the playoff simulator, and let's see what happens if let's do it like this. All right, so we don't care about Pittsburgh, Cleveland, obviously. Let's say that we do win, all right, and Washington loses to the Cowboys somehow, some way. It still doesn't change, right?
Right.
So yeah, we'll still be sitting. We'll be at 8-3. They'll be at 7-5. How does that not change? Oh, because we're already 6 seed
right,
up.
Yeah, we're already 6.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the next seed up would be the Vikings, right? So let's say the Vikings did lose to the Bears. They're still going to have the 5th seed because they get the tiebreaker over you,
yep.
right? So it really puts you in a great position with sitting at 8-3 if you can get this win this weekend, that you really control your own destiny throughout the rest of the playoffs. But
because then you're looking here at Arizona and Seattle. Seattle's 5-5 behind us, so you probably want the Cardinals to win because they're already leading their division. So we'll take them. Seattle drops to 5-6. That still gives us a 3-game lead. Then you look at the next game. You got Eagles, Rams. You might as well have the Eagles win that too. Rams are 5-5. Drop them out 5-6 again. So we could be clear in the right path. The only other one we're waiting on is the Lions and Colts. And if we're trying to get to the first in the division, fine. Colts. We're Colts fans either way, right? Just maybe we can get them to take a hit, but. Besides that, it's Bucks and Giants, and maybe you cheer for the Giants, and that's this week, man. If we can get Cowboys, Washington, doesn't matter. We really just kind of want Cardinals and the Eagles and us to win, and the Bears if possible.
I can't believe I'm going to be rooting for the Bears this week, but I'm going to be rooting for the Bears this week.
Oh yeah, they're the best team I've ever seen. They are.
Exactly. So if we clear it off again, currently the Packers are in the 6th seed. Worst case scenario, like I said, if the Packers do lose, right? Let's say San Fran wins and let's say Washington, regardless if Washington wins or not, we drop to the 7th seed. Let's say worst case scenario for everything here. Let's say that the Bucks win, right? Panthers don't really matter.
Washington wins.
Let's say Panthers. Let's say Washington wins. Let's say the Lions win.
Vikings.
Let's say the Vikings win, right?
San
Who would you rather be? Seattle winning, right?
And the Rams.
Rams. We're still the 7th seed.
So we drop one.
Yeah, we drop.
If we lose and everybody else wins, right?
That's worst case scenario for the Packers, right? And if you kind of look at the standings down here, we will be sitting at 7-4, and we got that, like I said, got that 1 game buffer, right? So
right, but then it would be Seattle and where is it? Seattle would be 6-5. So would Los Angeles be 6-5, and Arizona would be 6-5. So that would only put us 1 game up, and San Fran would be 6-5. So then that whole thing would squish in that worst case scenario. That window or gap gets a lot smaller if we take the L and everybody else wins.
Yeah, and the only other implication here, Atlanta dropping to 6-5, right? If they lose, or are they currently 6-5? I think they're currently 6-5. Are they not? Who did we pick? Did we pick that one?
They are 6-5 currently. They
okay, they don't play this week. Got it.
Right.
So with them sitting at 6-5, I was going to say, should you root against the Falcons here? You want both of those teams to lose as many games as you can, right? In the South, in case it does come down to that 2nd place team. Really doesn't have crazy ramifications there on the playoffs in terms of the Packers. So it's just interesting to look at that stuff and kind of keep our eye on it as we get a little later in the year. Anything else you want to look at here on the playoff simulator at all?
No, I don't think. I mean, there's not much movement we can do besides taking our game and hoping for the rest of everybody else to lose. But right. Even if we win and everybody else wins, we still are just going to keep the lead that we have, right? That 2-game kind of lead over them. So either way, we need to come out with a W and just keep that space.
Yeah, definitely. For those of you listening on the pod, that's going to do it for hour 1. We will see you on the other side for hour 2. Appreciate y'all.